Buying a home is one of the biggest financial investments you'll ever make. But what if I told you that one simple mistake in negotiations could end up costing you that dream home? And I've seen buyers unknowingly overpay, lose out on that dream home, or even have costly repairs, all because they didn't know the right tactics. But don't worry, because I am about to share the strategies with you. So when it comes time for you to make that negotiating in the buying process, you have the right tactics in place, you pay the proper amount, and you get it in your favor. What's up, guys? Anthony Esposito with eXp Realty, your local real estate expert right here in the Cleveland, Ohio area. And if you are looking to buy, sell, you're relocating to the area, whatever the case may be, I have people just like you reaching out to me every single week to help them navigate this market and make these tough negotiations for them. You can contact me directly here, or you can go in the description below, use one of the methods I have listed there. So let's get into these strategies and how you can make the negotiating process give you the best deal possible. So for starters, you gotta know the market. Is it a buyer's market? Is it a seller's market? And this is crucial because depending on what market it is going to determine your negotiating power as a buyer. As we saw in the past few years, it was a seller's market. You pretty much had to give whatever the sellers wanted in order for your offer to stand out. But as we go into a buyer's market, there becomes way more negotiating power that's available. So knowing the market is extremely crucial in making the proper negotiations. And you also have to have that pre-approval in hand, because I'm telling you right now, every single time I put an offer in, the pre-approval needs to go with it. It's not like the days of old. If you're new to getting into purchasing a house, you're not gonna, know the days of old where you didn't have to have a pre-approval in hand. It was, you're gonna make an offer and then you would show it. Now you need to submit that pre-approval and show that you have the funds to do so. And not only with purchasing the mortgage, but sometimes if you put down a larger earnest money amount, you have to show that you actually have that, like those funds as well. This one's a big one. You need to understand what is the seller's motivations. One of the things that I do automatically before we write an offer and finalize, what my client wants to write, I call up the list agent and I find out what is the most important thing to a seller. Because I'm telling you right now, it's not always the price. Sometimes they need a quick close. They got to move out and go. We don't know their situation. Are they moving because of a job relocation? Are they moving just because they want to move? Are they moving because they have pain points? Is it, it may be a divorce situation. We don't know the seller's motivation, but depending on what it is, creates a stronger offer all around. Because if they need a quick close, well, obviously we don't want to do a 45-day close, like an extended close. If they want something that's really quick, can your lender do it in 20 days? Are you able to do it in 20 days? Because you don't want to pressure yourself. But if you can, essentially give them a few of the things that they want and what's most important to them, that opens up space to negotiate in other areas. Like I said, if it's just the price that they're concerned about, well, then we got to figure out how we can give them that price, but also give things in your favor. This one's a tough one because when it comes to purchasing stuff as a consumer, not just for homes, we purchase on emotion. That's just the nature of humans. You can't let your emotions get the best of you, because if you are going strictly on your emotions and you don't have like a poker face in hand, like you're ready to go, you're gonna end up giving up a lot of potential negotiating powers. You might just give in to the seller. And currently right now in the Cleveland area, we are right in the middle between buyers and sellers market, and buyers are getting more negotiating power back in their favor. So if you're going strictly on emotions, if the seller comes back and they counter your initial offer, you don't have to give in and just say, okay, that's what it is. You can counter back. You can stand your ground. You can, maybe like a lot of times it's a counter for a price or so. You can come up a little bit, meet them in the middle. You don't have to give in. I understand that you really want the house. You really love the house. but put on that poker face so you don't end up losing in the end. This next one, this goes hand in hand with every single offer. And you got to use your inspection results to help give you that negotiating, to help give you that power in it. And I say this goes with every offer because every single offer, no matter what the market is, you should always have a general home inspection, bare minimum. Like skipping those is a huge mistake, and I've witnessed it. You don't know what the home's condition is in. You don't know what that house is having issues with. That home inspector is going to let you know. That gives you negotiating power, whether you want to come down on the price and reflect it in the price. If you want to ask the seller to fix those situations. If you want to ask the seller to at least give you a little bit of, help with remedying whatever issues it may be, whether it's a bad roof, mold, foundation issues, you name it. You have negotiating power in place with those inspection results. And don't nitpick, like if there's like a wall plate missing for an outlet. That's something that generally it's best to just fix it yourself. It's $1 to get yourself a wall plate and put it in. You nitpick stuff and it's just going to cause a lot of back and forth. But a lot of the major stuff, that's going to give you tons of options to do. And if it's something like, if you're like a VA or a FHA and they say, oh, there's exterior paint that's chipping, we need to correct this. Just note that that stuff can be put in escrow at a later time because we are in the winter right now. Exterior paint is not happening. And if you have a lender that's not from the area, which I always advise, get a local lender. I've dealt with it with a VA loan where they didn't understand why a deck couldn't be stained and why a trim around a front door couldn't be done. And I simply told the guy, it's December, it's cold. There's no exterior stain or paint happening in Northeast Ohio. It just doesn't work. So we had to put the money in escrow. And what it is you get quotes and then you negotiate to put a little bit extra in there. And then whatever extra is left, they will automatically send back to the seller. But those inspection results can give you tons of negotiating power to help you out in the grand scheme of things. And if you need an inspector in the area, I got a few that are excellent inspectors. Just drop a comment down below and I'll gladly get you their information. Oh, if you don't want to deal with the hassle of going back and forth, that first initial offer, just make it a strong one. Don't play any games. So let's say a house is, listed at $400,000 and you're like, well, I really think it's worth $390. Let's give them $380 and see what happens. And if price is the main concern for the seller, that $10,000, yes, it seems like a lot, but in the grand scheme of things of a mortgage payment, it's not a whole extra lot per month. So if you're willing to pay $390 for it and you don't want to deal with the back and forth, just give them your best offer up front. And you could simply tell your agent, like, hey, let the list agent know, like, we're not adjusting anything. This is our best offer that we want to deal with, and don't play any games. But you have to be okay with the understanding that they may not accept that. So it's okay to do a strong initial offer. They may end up taking it, which leads me into knowing when to compromise. You have to realize that there are win-win deals that are out there. And you may get a little bit, the seller may get a little bit, and you may want something else, the seller may want something else, but it might be in the best interest to make that compromise and, know what parameters are you okay with not getting. And it can go a long way. It really can. If you're going to hold your ground and you are adamant, like this is what I'm going to do, this is what I'm going to give you, then that's probably not like the house that's meant for you, because that to me tells me that you could take it or leave it for the house. And that's okay. You're allowed to feel that way. You're allowed to approach the offers with that, mindset, with that attitude. But also keep in mind that it may be a straight up rejection with stuff. So compromising is key when it comes to those negotiations. Get your absolute must-haves. Get your top dollar amount. Whatever it is, that you are adamant about, like, this is the highest we're going on XYZ, or this is what we're doing with all of this stuff. Stand your ground with that, but also be willing to compromise in little situations. Like I was saying about the home inspection stuff. Maybe the seller's not going to pay for a full roof, but they're willing to cover half of it. If you have the funds to do so, that would be something where you might want to compromise if you truly love that house. Now this may be a tough one because, like I said earlier, we buy on emotions. You also have to be willing to just walk away. And I know it's tough. You fell in love with the house. You want it really bad, but if the seller's not budging and they're not willing to compromise, they don't want to negotiate anything, walk away. It's not the house. And there are times, not all the time, but there are times you walking away, that gets that seller thinking, oh shit, I just messed up. Because they were trying to hold their ground and get the most, but they also wanted to make a deal, but they could just be stubborn with the whole situation. But walk away, because at the end of the day, the right house is going to come along at the right time, and you will win that offer. Every single one of my clients, I have told them like those exact words practically, and it has happened. I've had clients where it's taken months. I've had clients where it's taken days to find the right home. When that home is out there, it's going to show itself, and you will end up getting that home. But that also leads me into this last point. Have a realtor like me who knows how to negotiate properly. So if we are going to lowball essentially or come under a listing like price, we'll say it's $400,000. You want to come in at $380,000. One of the things that I do, and a lot of other agents I would highly suggest that they do, give the comps to the list agent of what you're comping from. Come with facts. Come with proof. It's almost like we got to play lawyer in a sense, which, you got to have everything in order. You got to have the facts of, hey, your house has been sitting, it's listed at $400,000. I don't feel it's worth $400,000. I just had this situation happen and we just got the appraisal back. And I told them it's probably going to be around $475,000 is where I'm thinking it's going to appraise at. And they were listed in the 490s. Well, we got them to agree to that 475. We just got the appraisal back. The appraisal came back just above 475,000 because I took the time to look at the comps and I sent the proof to the list agent. I said, here's the situation. Here's our main points. I found out exactly what the seller's biggest concern was with the whole process. I knew that it wasn't necessarily price. They had a net number that they wanted, but I knew it wasn't solely the price. They were also looking for closing. They needed extended possession, which that was the biggest one right there, was the extended possession. But I ended up negotiating all the stuff. And there's so many different ways that we can negotiate things, and it's all stuff that should be set up front and walk through the whole process, especially when you get ready to make that offer. Ultimately, it is your decision on the offer in every way, shape, or form. It's my job to advise, and it's my job to go to bat for you when the negotiations begin. So if I'm not going to be an expert in negotiating with the other agent and essentially being the voice for you and getting you the best deal, then I'm not doing my job is the way I feel. Let me know in the comments down below about how you felt about the whole negotiating process. Did you learn something? If so, what is it? If you got any value from this, be sure to smash the like button. It's greatly appreciated. And again, if you're looking to buy, sell, you're relocating, you need help, you need a resource, I have people just like you contacting me every single week. I'd love to help you out as well. Contact me directly here or go in the description below. Use one of the methods I have listed there. And if you haven't already, click subscribe, turn notifications on so you can stay up to date on all my future videos I have coming your way.